dṛṣṭo yenātmavikṣepo nirodhaṃ kurute tvasau udārastu vikṣiptaḥ sādhyā'bhāvātkaroti kim. dhīro lokaviparyasto vartamāno'pi lokavat na samādhiṃ na vikṣepaṃ na lepaṃ svasya paśyati. Verse 17. He who experiences distractions in himself indeed must control himself. But the noble-minded great one is not distracted at all. Having nothing to accomplish, what should he do? This theme has been captured in few earlier verses. By now we all know ego filled with vasanas promotes desires, and desires cause distraction. And the antidote for distraction is concentration on anything, on a form, God with form, on the essence, self, whatever. Whereas the self with no desires, no distraction, nothing to be controlled within. Over to the commentary of Acharya Chinmaya. As a limited ego, when the ego-filled jiva recognizes the world of plurality, he, the jiva, or it, the ego, gets distracted with enjoyments of the perceived world. As a spiritual seeker, then, the egocentric sadhaka must necessarily practice self-control in order to turn his mind away from the fields of his passions and to persuade it to contemplate upon the peaceful self. The imperfect must strive to reach perfection. But to the sage who is liberated in life, who knows no distractions, who is ever living the blissful peace of the infinite perfection, he has nothing to accomplish, and therefore, what has he to do? He has nothing more to gain. He has become the self. His mind has ended. His ego has merged. The world of dream has rolled away from him. He is the self, ever all-pervading and immutable. A sage knows no meditation. Now, verse 18. The wise man, though living like a common man, is the reverse of a common man. He sees neither distraction nor absorption nor involvement of himself. This is again an extension of the previous verse and of many earlier verses. A common man undertakes spiritual exercises, may listen to discourses, may involve in prayers. Still, he is not convinced about him being the self. He is unable to perceive or know about the self, like he is able to perceive or know about other objects outside him in the creation. Therefore, he may either not take up self-realization as the goal, or if he has to take up this as the goal, then he has to make huge efforts to control, avoid distractions, to involve, practice, and to absorb self in meditation. Now about the wise man, already realized self. Distraction is born out of desire, and the wise man has transcended desires long back. When one is distracted by the world of objects, then he must develop concentration on God or self to control his distractions or to channelize his mind. When there is no distraction for a realized seer, there is no absorption required by him earlier. He himself being the self, he cannot meditate on himself. He cannot undertake nididhyasana on himself. As the final culmination of all possible nididhyasana is he himself, the pure self. Commentary. A sage of inward constant experience, divine, recognizes nothing, neither absorption samādhiṃ nor distraction vikṣepa, for he has transcended his mind, and samādhiṃ and vikṣepa are the conditions of the mind. Nor does he himself ever get involved lepaṃ in the world of activity. This does not mean that he will not act. He constantly serves the world, but he never gets involved. He never acts with ego and egocentric desires, and as such, no vasanas are created in him by his activities. Thus, he is the reverse of a common man, as Ashtavakra says. These are all the verses for deep contemplation, searching within what are all the qualities described in these verses for a jiva which are still in us, not gone totally. And then in the second part of the meditation, to contemplate on how the wise man will be the reverse of a common man, how we would be when we have realized self. And then at the end of the meditation, stay in that contemplation of self. Leaving the common man, leaving the reverse of the common man, stay in self, in the depth of meditation, and get the glimpse of that self. Hari Om Tat Sat.